So because some of you had requested, today we're going to be taking a look at how to get started with Stellaris. Enjoy! Today we're going to be taking a look at Stellaris, which is a grand strategy, a space empire simulator. And the first thing you need to know is how to create your race to suit your playstyle. In general, you can play either a semi-expansionist playstyle, a defensive playstyle, or an aggressive one. But as you grow, your researches are going to be more difficult, your population will be harder to manage, but your borders will grow faster as well, so you need to balance that out. The best way to grow your borders, of course, is frontier outposts, which only cost you energy and influence, which are both important currencies within the game. So the first thing you need to know is to create your race. You can create it in almost however you'd like. As you play more, you will discover which traits will suit you better, especially after your first game. Your ethics will mainly determine your relationships with other nations. In general, empire style is easier to start, so when it comes to your ethics will determine the type of ascension you're going to have if you have the DLC. It will also determine what kind of relationships you're going to have with your neighbors. You will have better relationships with the empires that have similar trait, and every trait have their specific ability. Depending on your playstyle, this will shape your empire fundamentally. There are three types of ascensions: synthetic, psionic, and biological. All three of these are viable and are quite similar in what they provide, and they become very important in late game. They are determined by your technologies and your ascension traits. Your government style is important. I prefer the democratic, but most new players might want to prefer the imperial. The pre-last topic is the weapons, and there are three types of weapons: the mass driver projectile weapons, which are most suited for a balanced style gameplay. Energy weapons are great for defensive playstyle if you're thinking long term, because they start weaker but their powers ramp up quite greatly, and they have some of the best top tier weapons in the game. Missile weapons are great for early on, but they generally lose their traction later towards the game. The last but not least thing you will be choosing is your FTL method. Hyperspace and warp travels are most suggested ones for the starters. They're both quite viable. Wormhole travel is a little bit more complicated, but they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Hyperspace travel, if you would like more traditional way of moving. Warp travel, on the other hand, is more Star Trek-like, and you can jump multiple systems at a time, but it can put you at a vulnerable position. After you determine your FTL methods, some of the first things you should do, you should send out your starting warships to scout your surrounding area to determine the habitable planets, and plan the expansion of your empire through frontier outposts as well as colonization. In general, it is good to have only 3 planets to begin with for most of the game. This allows you a good mix of both technology speed and border growth. Strategically placing your frontier outposts to include as many star systems, especially rich star systems, will benefit you greatly, and these are the first things you need to begin your journey to take over the galaxy. And remember, Emperor protects.